super simple side dish that packs a ton of flavor. This Parmesan asparagus recipe, from 101 Cooking, for 2 can be baked in your oven in just 15 minutes. Be sure to toggle down the serving size from 4 to 2, and check out the additional helpful hints. French onion soup. French onion soup is a favorite pastime when the weather is frigid, and so is cozying close to a loved one. You can do both with this French onion soup recipe for 2, courtesy of From the Chef's Kitchen. Fondue for 2. Gruyere and fontina cheeses are melted together with white wine into the perfect meal and activity for Valentine's Day. Martha Stewart can show you how to make it, and she suggests sourdough, potatoes, fennel, apple, breadsticks, and dry salami for dipping. Chicken tikka masala. This popular Indian dish features chunks of chicken covered in a creamy curry sauce. If you've never made it before, or even if you have, try this 4-serving recipe from this healthy table, which can be made in a single pot. Serve it with a side of white rice, and you've got yourself a meal. Chicken marsala. If you and your love are sharing a bottle of wine on Valentine's Day, why not share a meal with some wine in it, too? Chicken marsala is an Italian-American classic that features chicken that's coated in flour and sautéed with marsala wine, mushroom, onion, garlic, and a few other items that Mr. Food can tell you all about. Beef Wellington. No one is certain if the Duke of Wellington was the inventor of beef Wellington or just the namesake, which is unfortunate, because we wish we knew who to credit for the idea of putting steak inside a puff pastry. However, we do know who we can credit for making a fantastic beef Wellington recipe for 2, and that's Joni Simon. Baked salmon. Valentine's Day is about spending time with a person who holds your heart, and few foods are as heart-healthy as salmon. This oven-baked herb-crusted salmon recipe from Tasty includes a helpful video, as well as bonus recipes for garlic smashed potatoes and a chocolate peanut butter skillet brownie. Peanut butter pudding. Hot little pudding served with a chocolate sorbet and peanut butter caramel. This vegan recipe has real wow factor. It takes a bit of effort, but everything can be made in advance and the puddings can be frozen. You could even buy sorbet to save time. The recipe serves 4, but as the puddings can be frozen, why not make the full quantity and have some in reserve for another day? Dark chocolate mousse. With just 4 ingredients, this rich mousse takes little effort to make and is a winner every time. It's best made the day before too. Have the recipe and use 2 small eggs. Top with whipped cream, chopped nuts or seasonal berries. Tiramisu. Loaded with strong coffee and brandy, it's easy to see why this dessert translates from Italian as pick-me-up. With layers of cream, booze and coffee-soaked sponge and grated chocolate, it's a decadent and delicious ending to a meal. It can be made the day before serving too, to give the flavors a chance to really infuse. Have the recipe to serve too. Eaten this. This classic British dessert of whipped cream, berries and crushed meringue is so easy to make. Our recipe uses shop-bought meringue nests and Greek yogurt instead of cream, and frozen berries. It's all ready in 5 minutes, then it needs an hour in the fridge before serving. Have the recipe to serve too. Watermelon granita with shortbread. Granita is similar to a sorbet, but less smooth and makes a refreshing and light ending to dinner. Watermelon, pomegranate, lime and a hint of mint are the flavors of this granita, which needs to be made the day before eating. It's served with buttery shortbreads and a splash of sparkling wine. You could have the recipe, but the granita will keep for up to a month in the freezer and the shortbreads for 3 days in an airtight box. Almond crepes with plums. A simple pancake gets a delicious makeover. Served warm, stuffed with a creamy mascarpone and orange filling, with plums cooked in a red wine and blackcurrant syrup. Flaked almonds are cooked into the pancake batter too. The pancakes and plums can be made the day before, to be reheated and filled before serving. Have the recipe for 2. Chocolate fondant. Dig your spoon into these hot little puddings to find a rich chocolate sauce inside. They are easy to put together and you can prepare them before dinner. Leave at room temperature then bake for 10 minutes or so. Serve with thick cream and berries, or salted caramel sauce. Flourless chocolate cake. Desserts don't get much richer than flourless chocolate cake, and we're not talking about the money. In fact, you can make this decadent, gluten-free recipe from Gimme Some Oven with just 3 ingredients, eggs, butter, and a whole lot of chocolate. But if you want to impress your date, Dress this dessert up with a sprinkle of powdered sugar, and maybe some raspberries, too. German chocolate cake. A layered chocolate cake with a coconut pecan frosting makes up this German chocolate cake recipe via Taste Better from scratch. If you're wondering what is German about coconuts and pecans, the answer is nothing. Unlike Black Forest cake, German chocolate cake isn't related to Germany at all. It was invented by an American baker named Samuel German. Ice cream. Have an ice cream maker that needs a little love and attention? Break it out for Valentine's Day. Making ice cream can even be a date night activity, whether it's your first date or you've been married for years. Joy Food Sunshine has an easy 7-ingredient version. Marble brownies. If you think brownies are a bit basic, especially for a special Valentine's Day dessert, class them up by making marble brownies instead. This version from all recipes actually comes from the Philadelphia brand, because, as you may guess, it involves cream cheese. Aside from the cream cheese and brownie mix, all you need are sugar, vanilla, and eggs. Oreo cheesecake. We could have gone with chocolate cheesecake, but Oreo cheesecake is one of our favorite flavors, and the cookie parts are chocolate cookies, so it counts. Life, Love, and Sugar claims to have the best Oreo cheesecake recipe, but make it at home and decide for yourself. Devil's Food Cake. Devil's Food Cake is the darkest of the dark when it comes to cake, as it's made of layers of rich chocolate cake, and it's filled and covered with chocolate frosting. The origins of this dessert are at least 120 years old, so we recommend using this old-fashioned Devil's Food Cake recipe from Baker by Nature. Chocolate truffles. One of the richest desserts around is chocolate truffles, and that's a dangerous thing for our diet. But sometimes it's fun to live dangerously on Valentine's Day, so why not make some truffles with this recipe from Petite Gourmets. Chocolate tart. If a chocolate cream pie is too much like pudding for your liking, try a chocolate tart instead. Don't worry, it's not as complicated or fancy as it sounds. In fact, it's actually pretty simple, especially with this recipe from the Food Network. Chocolate souffle. There's a lot of satisfaction that comes with baking a rich, fluffy souffle, but it's a delicate process. Keep Valentine's Day shenanigans out of the kitchen while this chocolate souffle from Sally's Baking Addiction is prepped and baked, as it could fall faster than a fool in love. Chocolate mousse. Just 5 simple ingredients are needed for this chocolate mousse from Recipe 10 Eats: chocolate, butter, cream, eggs, and caster sugar. You can use it atop cakes or brownies, or just eat it with a spoon, and whipped cream and chocolate shavings, of course. Chocolate lava cake. A classic dessert for two. Chocolate lava cake isn't as tricky as it looks. In fact, this recipe from Sally's Baking Addiction will show you how to make them in ramekins or muffin pans. And yes, the chocolate wooes out like a miniature Chelcocano. Chocolate fudge. Chocolate fudge is fancy, it's rich, and it's tasty, so there's no way it could be easy, right? Not according to Show Me the Yummy, who have a 5-ingredient version that only requires about 5 minutes of prep. Chocolate fondue. For some reason, chocolate fondue gives off romantic vibes, and we're fine with that because it's easy to make and delicious to eat. This recipe from Chelsea's Messy Apron calls for just 6 ingredients, and 2 of them are chocolate. All you need to do is decide what to dip in it. We suggest fruit like strawberries and pineapple, or cakes like angel food and pound cake. Chocolate cupcakes. Chocolate cake is delicious, and chocolate frosting is delicious, which would mean that chocolate cupcakes with chocolate frosting, like these from Handle the Heat, are twice as good. Except due to a synergy-like situation, the result is actually better than the sum of its 2 parts, especially if you add chocolate sprinkles. Chocolate-covered strawberries. To make chocolate-covered strawberries, you really only need 2 ingredients, strawberries and high-quality chocolate. Natasha's Kitchen can show you how to make them and provide some creative suggestions for more elaborate versions. If you're in the mood for a romantic cliché, resist the urge to lovingly feed the strawberries to each other. It's always more messy and awkward than anticipated. Chocolate cream pie. This chocolate cream pie via Tastes Better from scratch comes complete with 3 layers, whipped cream on top, chocolate pudding in the middle, and an Oreo crust underneath. It may sound complicated, but the crust can be made in advance and the pudding needs several hours to set, so the prep is broken up nicely. Black Forest cake. Based on the German dessert known as Schwarzwälder Kirschtorte, Black Forest cake is actually called Black Forest Cherry Torte, according to the direct translation. It's made of multiple layers of chocolate sponge cake, and as the name suggests, it has a cherry filling. The cherry flavor actually comes from a cherry liqueur, as indicated in this recipe from Live for Cake. Celebrate Valentine's Day with these chocolate dessert recipes. Valentine's Day is an opportunity to show how much you love someone, so don't do it with store-bought flowers and chocolates. We're not implying you nix chocolate completely, that's crazy talk, but instead, we suggest you put some love and care into dessert by making it yourself. For romantic inspiration, try celebrating this Valentine's Day with one of these 22 chocolate dessert recipes. As the story goes, Asparagus made the mistake of letting the preacher talk. Father Valentinius went on and on about Christ leading pagans out of the shadow of darkness and into the light of truth and salvation. Asparagus made a bargain with Valentinius: if the Christian could cure Asparagus' foster daughter of blindness, he would convert. Valentinus put his hands over the girl's eyes and chanted, "Lord Jesus Christ, enlighten your handmaid because you are God, the true light." English audiences embraced the idea of February mating. Shakespeare's love-struck Ophelia spoke of herself as Hamlet's Valentine. In the following centuries, Englishmen and women began using February 14th as an excuse to pin verses to their love objects. Industrialization made it easier with mass-produced illustrated cards adorned with smarmy poetry. Then along came Cadbury, Hershey's, and other chocolate manufacturers marketing sweets for one sweetheart on Valentine's Day.